The first time it happened, Dr. Maren Fletcher thought she had imagined it. The way 14-year-old Ava Harlow flinched when her father spoke her name. Not a normal nervous tic. Something deeper, instinctive, the kind of fear that lived in a child's bones. The kind that shouldn't exist. The clinic room was quiet enough to hear the hum of the old fluorescent lights when Ava whispered a forbidden secret under her breath. So soft Maren almost missed it. "Don't let him in the room." Maren froze. Ava stared ahead like she wasn't even aware she'd said it. And then her father, Daniel Harlow, walked in, smiling, warm, perfectly calm. Too calm. From that moment, nothing felt normal. Not the father's pleasant tone. Not the daughter's rigid posture. Not the strange way the air in the room thickened, as if heavy with something unsaid. Maren had seen odd cases before. Runaways, abuse victims, manipulative parents. But something about the Harlows carried a colder, more intricate tension. A storm disguised as a suburban family. She tried to begin the exam. Ava wouldn't look at her. Daniel kept one hand on the back of his daughter's chair, fingers resting lightly on her shoulders, but the girl tensed at every touch. "Stomach pain?" Maren asked gently. Ava nodded, her eyes fixed downward. "How long?" "Since last month." But Ava paused, swallowing. "It gets worse when—" Daniel cut in. "She's dramatic. Growing pains. Hormones." He laughed lightly, practiced. Too polished, as if he rehearsed every word. Maren's instincts prickled. Something wasn't right. When she suggested an ultrasound just to rule things out, Daniel hesitated for the first time. His smile cracked. Barely, but enough for Maren to see a flicker of something colder behind it. Ava looked at her with sudden panic, whispering, "Please don't say anything in front of him." Maren's heart tightened. Forbidden secrets whispered in a fluorescent-lit room. A father with a glued-on smile. A girl silently begging for help. So she made a decision. "Daniel," she said, "I'll need Ava alone for scan. Standard protocol." His jaw tightened. "I prefer to stay." "Not possible," she replied gently. "Privacy law for adolescent patients. Clinic policy." For a moment, she thought he might refuse. But then he stepped back, nodding a little too stiffly. "Of course. Whatever helps." When the door shut behind him, Ava finally exhaled, shaky, terrified. "Are you safe at home?" Maren asked. Ava didn't answer. Her eyes moved to the door as though she expected it to fly open at any second. And then she whispered something that sent a chill rolling up Maren's spine. "What if the person you're supposed to trust the most is the one you can't?" The scan began, and what appeared on the monitor made Maren's hands go cold. Not an injury, not a pregnancy, not abuse. Something worse. Something deeper. Something intentionally hidden. Ava had small, healed surgical scars on her abdomen. 3 of them. Clean, precise. Performed months ago. But there were no medical records. No hospital visits. No procedures. No reason a young girl should have them at all. "Ava, who did this to you?" She trembled. I'm not supposed to talk about it." The door rattled. Daniel's voice. "Everything okay in there?" Ava flinched so hard the gel bottle fell from Maren's hand. Maren made a fast decision. She needed to call someone, Child Protective Services, the police, anyone, but she also needed to get Ava out safely. First, there was something methodical about those scars, something calculated, something that hinted at a secret older than the girl's fear. When Maren opened the door, Daniel's expression was unreadable. Polite smile, hands in pockets, calm eyes that seemed to be studying her too closely. "Well," he asked. Maren inhaled deeply. "We need to run a few additional tests." Daniel's eyes sharpened. "What kind of tests?" "The kind that would expose whatever he was hiding." But she didn't say that. Instead, blood work. Routine. He nodded slowly. "Then we'll go." Ava looked devastated, as if walking back out with him was a sentence she couldn't escape. That night, Maren wrote a formal report, every detail, every fear, every instinct, and submitted it to Child Services. The evidence wasn't enough to accuse Daniel of anything, but it was enough to trigger an investigation. 3 days later, Ava and her father vanished. The school reported absences. Their neighbors said the house looked emptier. No forwarding address. No family contacts. No phone service. Gone. But disappearances leave footprints. And people who hide secrets leave cracks. Detective Rowan Mercer was assigned the case. Quiet, sharp, relentless. The kind of investigator who noticed things others ignored. He visited the clinic the same day the missing persons alert went out. "Tell me everything," he told Marin. She did. The flinching, the scars, the silent terror. Rowan listened without speaking. But Marin saw the way his jaw flexed. The details disturbed him. When she showed him the ultrasound image, his brows pulled together. "These scars," he muttered. "They're too clean. Whoever did them knew what they were doing. They're professional." "Medical?" she asked. "Or military? Or underground?" He exhaled. "Someone with training?" The investigation widened. Rowan pulled Daniel's employment history. Nothing remarkable. Warehouse logistics. But there were gaps. 3 years unaccounted for in his early 20s. He claimed travel. No record supported it. Then Rowan interviewed a former co-worker who said something strange. Daniel always kept to himself. Locked his car even in the company lot. And once, just once, I saw a metal case in his trunk. Like something you'd store equipment in. He shut it fast when he saw me. Equipment. Surgical scars at a terrified daughter. The picture darkened. Then a breakthrough. Ava's school counselor admitted the girl once said, "My dad says I'm special. He says I need to be prepared." Prepared for what? No one knew. But the dread deepened. 3 weeks into search, a major twist hit the investigation like a lightning bolt. Daniel's DNA, from an old employment medical test, matched a sealed record from another state. A case involving a missing young girl 17 years earlier. A girl found months later with similar surgical scars and no memory of what happened. The unsolved file had one cryptic note. Suspect believed to have medical knowledge. Motive unknown. Rowan's mind raced. Was Daniel repeating a pattern? Experimenting? Preparing Ava for something? The case shifted from a child protection concern to something far darker. Then the break. Cameras caught Daniel's car on an abandoned highway in a rural county. Rowan and a search team followed the trail to a shuttered farmhouse at the edge of a dead field. The windows were boarded, the doors chained, the kind of place secrets rot in. Inside, they expected the worst. But what they found only fueled more questions. Empty rooms, cold ashes in a rusted stove, a few blankets in one corner, and in another, a metallic medical case. Inside, it weren't surgical tools, exactly, but equipment, sterile cloths, anesthetic vials, and a single notebook filled with entries written in neat, disturbing handwriting. Subject A. Progress continues. Trauma response decreasing. She must trust me before the next step. Rowan's pulse hammered. Next step? But there was no sign of Ava. No sign of Daniel. Only one more thing. Ava's bracelet, snapped in half on the floor. As the evidence piled, the story twisted further. Daniel wasn't just a controlling father. He was something else. Something methodical, secretive, and tied to a past not even law enforcement fully understood. And Ava, she wasn't just a victim. The writings hinted at something planned for her. Something Daniel believed was necessary. Then Rowan asked a question no one wanted to consider. What if he wasn't trying to hurt her? What if he was preparing her for something he thought was coming? The notebook's final page had one line. When she's ready, they won't be able to take her. Who were they? A cult? A conspiracy? A delusion? Or something real? The case closed temporarily as a pending unresolved disappearance. But Rowan didn't stop. Marin couldn't sleep. And somewhere out there, Ava and Daniel were still moving, still hiding, still following a path no one could see yet. And the chilling final question, the one Rowan couldn't shake, drifted to the silent farmhouse as he stared at the empty doorway. What exactly was Ava being prepared for, and who was coming for her next? 3 months after Ava and her father vanished, Detective Rowan Mercer was the only one who couldn't let the case die. The farmhouse, the notebook, the scars, every detail gnawed at him. Nothing in the disappearance of Ava Harlow aligned with a normal criminal pattern. Daniel wasn't sloppy, impulsive, or desperate. He was prepared, too prepared, and the note in that abandoned house echoed in Rowan's mind like a warning carved into bone. When she's ready, they won't be able to take her. Rowan replayed the ultrasound image again and again. The scars were precise, intentional, not the work of abuse. Something colder, something trained. He tracked down a retired military doctor who agreed to look at the scan. After a long silence, the man said, "These look like early-stage implant sites." When Rowan asked what type of implants, the doctor hesitated before whispering, "Tracking devices or extraction ports." Rowan felt ice grip his spine. Extraction of what? The doctor didn't answer. Ava, meanwhile, had learned to live without asking questions. Questions made Daniel go silent, stare at the windows, grip the steering wheel like the world was closing in. They slept in different places each night. Cheap motels, abandoned cabins, even a basement of a rural church where the pastor seemed to recognize Daniel. Every time Ava asked where they were going, he simply whispered, "Somewhere safe." But Ava never felt safe. Not with him. Not with the truth she had begun to piece together. She remembered flashes, cold metal, bright lights, her father's voice saying, "Don't be afraid. This is to protect you." But protect her from what? Late one night, she woke to voices outside her motel door. A woman whispered, "They'll start looking here." Daniel replied, "I just need more time." The woman's voice sharpened. "You don't have more time. They know she's active." Active. The word stuck in Ava's throat. She stepped away from the door, but Daniel caught her listening. His stare cut through the shadows. "Did you hear anything?" She lied. He didn't look convinced. Rowan's investigation pulled him into darker territory. Officially, Daniel had worked warehouse jobs, but sealed federal files, open only after Rowan bypassed 2 protocols, told a different story. A decades-old photograph showed Daniel 20 years younger, wearing the insignia of a covert research division. The name on the folder made Rowan's pulse spike, Project Eidolon. The file described ethical violations and irreversible effects on pediatric subjects. Pediatric, children. Rowan felt sick. Inside the folder was a second, thinner file labeled Subject A. Harlow AVA. It contained infant scans, monitoring sheets, and one chilling line. Subject exhibits Phase 1 activation. Immediate retrieval recommended. Retrieval. The date on the recommendation was 1 week before the Harlows vanished. Someone had been coming for Ava, and Daniel ran to keep her away from them. Ava learned pieces of the truth in a collapsing barn where she finally saw her father break. He sat on the dusty floor, staring at a photograph of a young woman with kind eyes, someone Ava had never seen before. "Who is she?" Ava whispered. Daniel hesitated, then said, "Your mother." Ava froze. He had always claimed she died when Ava was a baby, but he had lied. He lied about everything. "She worked with me," he said quietly. "We thought we were helping people. We didn't know what Eidolon was really doing. Not until it was too late." Ava's heartbeat thundered. "What does that have to do with me?" Daniel looked frightened, not of her, but for her. "You weren't born like other children." She stepped back. "What do you mean?" He opened a metal case and pulled out a scan. Ava as an infant, marked with the same surgical scars she had now. "You were the first successful subject," he whispered, "and the only one who lived." Ava felt her chest seize. "What am I?" Before Daniel could answer, gravel crunched outside. Voices. Footsteps. Daniel's eyes widened. "They found us." Rowan arrived at the abandoned barn hours later, following tire tracks and fresh footprints. Inside, instead of Ava or Daniel, he found 2 unconscious operatives wearing tactical gear, both marked with the same symbol, Eidolon Retrieval Unit. On the floor lay a syringe and a metallic card, a data chip. Rowan inserted it into his tablet. A video auto-loaded, showing a gaunt doctor, panicked, speaking into a camera. "If you receive this, do not approach the girl directly. Subject A is entering Phase 2. She is not aware of her condition. Extreme caution. Do not let her come into contact with her biological mother. If they reunite, Phase 3 initiates. Rowan felt cold dread swallow him. The video ended abruptly. A single line of text filled the screen. Phase 3 equals worldwide cascade event. Do not allow reunification. Stop subject A at any cost. Rowan's breath stalled. Ava wasn't just being hunted because she was a victim. She was being hunted because she was a catalyst. Something designed, tested, monitored. Something Eidolon had engineered. Something unpredictable. But there was one more encrypted file on the chip. Rowan unlocked it. A photograph appeared, grainy but unmistakable. The woman from Daniel's wallet. Ava's mother. Alive. Eyes sharp with fear and determination. The timestamp showed it was taken yesterday. And beneath the photo, a final mission directive. Known objective. Find Ava first. Status. Active in the area. Rowan felt the bottom drop out of the world as he realized the truth. Ava wasn't just running from her father. She wasn't just running from Eidolon. She wasn't even running from whatever she was turning into. Ava was being hunted by the one person she believed was already dead. Her mother. And she was closer than anyone knew. More shocking than anything Rowan expected was a final line on the file. A detail that changed the meaning of everything that came before. A revelation so impossible Rowan read it twice before believing it. Subject A was not engineered. Subject A was inherited. Ava's abilities didn't come from Project Eidolon. They came from her mother,